Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Tom. Tom is from England in the UK. So let's see what Tom has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, hello, Tom. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. And how are you?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, I was intrigued by it, and Sundays I don't usually do too much anyway, so that's why we thought we'd meet up today and have a little chat, I suppose.
Amazing. So, tell me, what has been the highlight of your weekend so far?
So I mean, you probably missed it because I posted it 15 minutes ago, but I was at a CrossFit competition yesterday, in a place called Yorkshire in England, and it was set on a beach. So I competed with three other members from my gym, and then we had another team of four competing on the same day.
Wow.
And these competitions, they are mainly for fun. There's no sort of prize money. It's not professional, but of course, everyone's got a competitive element in there, and we came away and won. We actually
Wow.
won. Yeah, we actually won three out of the four events, and then placed second in the other event. So we did, we couldn't have done much better than that. And yeah, it was a fantastic day, really well run competition. I viewed it as basically like a day at the beach, but you were having a workout every hour, which is my dream. So yeah, it was brilliant.
Amazing. And tell me, where are you from, Tom?
I'm from a town called Bolton. It's in the north of England, and the nearest big city that most people will know is Manchester.
I see. So, that's the place where you're born and raised?
Born and raised, yes, born and raised in Bolton. I spent a little bit of time in the south of England, Southampton, when I was about 1 to 5 years old, and then
Uh-huh.
family moved back up north and been here pretty much ever since.
I see. So tell me something interesting about Bolton. Tell me something interesting about the town that you live.
Yeah, okay. So, I'll tell you why it's called Bolton first and foremost. So, Bolton is a town and it's surrounded by hills. So, the old English saying of a bowl town, because it's in the shape of a bowl, in my opinion, it gets a bad rap in terms of the place itself because it's beautiful around the surrounding areas. Like I said, it's got loads of hills, really nice rural areas, loads of really good sort of reservoirs to walk around, and you know what? That came to light during the lockdown period where you didn't really have much to do. You sort of discovered how beautiful Bolton can be. We have a few famous comedians from Bolton. Maybe haven't made themselves that famous across the transatlantic, but a man called Peter Kay and a man called Paddy McGuinness are like local legends, if you like, and really good comedians. Our football team or soccer team for you guys in the US, if anyone's listening, was once upon a time pretty good. We were quite high up in the Premier League,
Wow.
but money troubles and sort of years gone by, they've fallen down a few of the leagues now. So hopefully they'll be there one day. Although I am a Manchester United fan, so I do have a soft spot for Bolton though. And I suppose that's probably the in my era anyway, what I know Bolton to be famous for.
That's amazing. I didn't know about that. And you just made my day now. Learn something new. That's amazing. Those towns that, sometimes you don't hear those towns very often, the names. And when someone
Mhm.
explains a little bit about it, it gets very
Yeah,
interesting, exciting as
yeah,
well. Sure.
cool.
And what do you do for work, for living, Tom?
So I'm an online fitness coach, and for those who don't know, because I know it's a new title. It's basically imagine, you go to the gym, personal trainer there who helps you with your exercise. I do similar, but on an online setting. But I look after someone with more of a holistic view. So I'll write them a personalized training program. The same with the diet plan. So I'm looking after what they're eating and the food. But also because I'm not, spending an hour with someone in the gym, my time is used to coach and support someone through their whole journey. So it's not
Right.
necessarily struggles with the diet or training. It might be how to balance, their busy schedule. They might be working 9 to 5, they might have two children. And it's about implementing these different ways and strategies that helps the individual overcome their challenges rather than them trying to follow a bit of a blanket template which worked for a bodybuilder who got really successful, but they have
Amazing.
none of the same like life life situations as them. So Yeah, that's what I do. I run my own kind of coaching program. I've got over 5 years experience of coaching, but it's only since the turn of 2025 that I decided I wanted to run my own program, because my ideas, my philosophies are something I wanted to really run with. So yeah, I'm quite an infant in the business owner space, let's say.
That's amazing. And you always coaching people online, always being online, your business, your coaching.
So I am now, but I did spend 3 years on the gym floor. So as I just described, then I was a personal trainer at a gym in Bolton, funnily enough, and that's where I sort of learned the basics, learned the foundations, learned how to work with different people from different walks of life, men, women, different races, different ages. So it really did set me up to be able to understand people, understand their individual challenges and problems and situations, to now, be where I am today, having then moved online, working with a couple of different companies, and then deciding to create my own.
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, Tom, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey so far. Okay?
Sounds great. Yeah.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Of course, I think so.
Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Run the fun questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question. Okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. All right, so before I start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to answer, don't want to talk about, always can change, okay?
Of course.
Amazing. First question for you is, share with us a crazy or funny story that happened to you when you were a child at school.
Oh, wow. Child at school, crazy funny story. There's probably quite a few.
Did you like school growing up? Did you like school growing up?
I loved school. I think because I've always been sporty, and it's always been my way to connect with people. So even though I am traditionally I'm an introverted, shy person. So I find it hard to make friends in a normal scenario. But put me on a football pitch, put me on a running track, put me in any sort of game situation, then that's where I thrive. But I suppose the one. So I like to do these questions. The first thing that comes into my head, the first thing that came into my head was actually when I was at primary school. It's not. I don't know whether it's funny or particularly significant, but I was playing football on the playground, and I was thinking I was around 7 or 8 years old. It was about a week before I was going away with my dad. My mum and dad just split up at this time. So I was going away with my dad, and I was going to meet not my stepmom at the time, but his new girlfriend. And I broke my ankle playing football on the playground. Yeah,
Oh,
I rolled my ankle, and obviously, if you break a bone too hard, and you obviously got a cast on, it makes it difficult to travel. So I didn't obviously hear this conversation, because my dad told me in retrospect now, but he said when he got the phone call that you were in hospital, you had a cast on, he was just like, oh, it would be it's just like, why can't you just stay safe for the next 4 days? So then fast forward to the holiday, and within about 2 days, my dad catches me running around with my cast on playing football when I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to have my leg up on the sunbed and being careful. But he just said, well, he's a kid. He's obviously not that hurt. Let him do what he wants.
I love this story. I love this story. And you made me remember something about me as well. When I was around 7, 8 years old, I broke my arm as well. I was jumping in the tree, and literally I broke my arm. And the weekend, it was very close to the summer holidays. And during this time, I was going to a farm where my uncle was living, and it was surrounded with animals, and there was a beautiful lake there, and I love water. And do you know what I did? My mom said, don't get close to the water because you're cast. Yeah, you cannot go to. Yeah. As soon as she left a little bit, I put like a plastic bag in my arm and I jumped in the water. And I couldn't speak like this. And when they saw me, they came after me. I didn't draw anything, but I couldn't like be there. And a little bit of my cast got a bit wet, so she was so upset with me.
It's quite funny because the get around for me going swimming on holiday is, and my dad, I think he spent around 40-50 pounds on this. It was basically a plastic bag, and
Uh-huh.
within the first 5 minutes of wearing it, it leaked, it ripped, and we just said, "Oh, just forget about it."
That's amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, Tom. Next question is, what's the best first date have you ever been on?
Oh, that's an easy one. So I just and unfortunately it didn't so to say grow into anything. And this was purely because I was going off for a long period of travel to Asia, so we already do. But
Mm-hmm.
I met a girl through the CrossFit sort of world, and our first
Wow.
date was in a gym, and it was brilliant because she's very high level competitor, very strong. So we were doing really, let's say, advanced things in the gym whilst getting to know each other. And for me, it was just the best date because I was able, like I said to you before, in that setting, I'm just be able to relax. I'm able to be myself, and the same for her, I suppose. And unfortunate, the only real kind of thing that didn't allow it to progress was me going off traveling. But it was a great date. We had a good few, couple of weeks getting to know each other, and I think that would be a chosen first date in the future as well.
Wow. And for you too, when you are on a date scene, yeah, what's something about another girl that gets your attention? What's something about them that for you it's something that bright your eyes?
Yeah, definitely a girl who trains, a girl who looks after herself, a girl who goes. And because my sport is CrossFit, and that's where a big chunk of my friends are from now, it only makes sense that I meet a girl within that world because it's such a big part of my life. It's such a, obviously I've just said I've spent the whole Saturday doing a competition yesterday. I do that quite often. I'm in the gym all week, so if I can share that with the girl that I'm supposed to be dating, or even as a partner, it just makes sense. So that would be a big tick.
And the opposite side, what's something that for you is a turn off? That when you see a girl, you go like, it's not something for me. There is something about it.
Yeah, and I suppose it is the opposite. A girl who, maybe regularly posts on Instagram she's out drinking, or, even smoking's a big no-no, or, someone that just seems to be really obsessed about being out at like cocktail bars, partying. Don't get me wrong, I love to go out and have a nice meal. I love to have, I'm from the north of England. I like a beer, don't get me wrong.
Of
But if
course.
that's the center of what you do, it's not for me.
I see. Good. Next question. Let's do it.
I want to hear this music. I want to dance.
Before the next question, tell me what's the biggest joy of being a coach? What do you like the most about coaching people, helping people, get them in a place where they can have the best of themselves? What's the biggest joy of it, in your opinion?
I think there's one single thing that always strikes a chord in my heart, and it's when I get that text off someone out of the blue, just to say how much they appreciate what I've done, or something that we've been working on has really helped them get over a certain task or challenge. Or as part of my service, I do a weekly check-in, and then they might comment on something in there that they've realized this week about themselves because of the work we've been doing. And for me, that is, that's why I do it. That's why I do it. I like to see men become who they want to become, and really realize their potential. And sometimes, I've been close to having a tear in my eye because some of those messages are really,
Wow.
really thoughtful, and that's why I do it.
Wow. And the opposite sides, for you, what's the biggest challenge for you of your career?
It's got to be social media, in the way that I think it's molded or influenced a lot of people to believe things that just aren't true. And when I say that, the main thing that comes to mind is, you must see it all the time with these other coaches who sell these, 8-week fat loss programs, and, get shredded in 10 weeks. And they miss a big part of that message, and they miss the message that this is temporary. You're not learning anything because you can, like William, I could say to you, if you wanted to get shredded in 6 weeks, we can do it. But that would mean you pretty much starving yourself, working out 2-3 times a day. not sustainable habits. And the way I do my work, I'm looking to work with someone for a period of time so that they can leave me and continue what we've learned, because it's real, it's applicable to their life.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest challenge I have with, trying to sign people up, is telling them that what you've seen isn't true. You can't get the life and the shape that you want to get in that short amount of time. And I have to really exclaim that I'm 14 years into my training journey, and I'm still learning, I'm still developing, and that's what it is. It's an ever growing journey.
It's interesting saying that, Tom. Thanks for sharing, because I had an interview with a lovely man from New York City, and he's been in the business as well for a long time, and he said the same thing as well. He said, William, sometimes it's frustrating for me to create a program, to get the clients to go to follow them, to guide them, but somehow you see some influencers that don't have much experience, they just sell a quick something there, and just because they have big followers, and people sometimes they go through that, and it's not a good place, because they, as you mentioned, sometimes there are some programs that you can just, not a miracle, but you can jump in and somehow get yourself in a place. However, it's not just about that. It's about, it's coaching, it's every day, it's checking, it's things, it's a diet, it's a lot of things involved, and he mentioned that as well. And sometimes he finds it a bit difficult to do his career, his business, because of that. Because sometimes people, they just expect in what they see there, the perfection that does exist there. Sometimes what they on social media.
Yeah, I like this guy. Maybe we should collaborate together, because we need more coaches like him.
Amazing. Next question is, what's the best advice have you ever received?
Oh, great question. I've definitely received this advice, but I couldn't pinpoint who it came from and when it happened, and it's maybe happened multiple times in my life. But it's one I practice, and one I've been actually told that is a real character of mine, and it's just being positive, staying positive regardless of what's happening. And what I mean by that is, you could have, and I always use this example when I'm talking to my clients, like I've come home once from my dad's, a weekend at my dad's, and I came home and there was a leak in my roof. Now, go back 2 years, I would have come home, seen that, and just been like, oh, what's this? This is going to cost this amount of money. Why does it happen to me? Blah, 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 blah. But instead, I came home and I thought, right, first and foremost, it needs to get sorted. But hang on, what if I didn't come home for another week? What if I didn't come home for 2 weeks? Like, my house could, the roof could have collapsed. My house could have been like a little bit flooded. It could have been way worse. And then you've always got to think someone else has always got it way worse than you. And what I've discovered since, practicing and receiving that feedback when I was probably in my younger years, because I did used to be a little bit, shall we say, of a hothead, especially when it came to sport.
Right.
And now I'm able to sort of digest and analyze something, bring out the positivity. No one ever gets over or succeeds by being negative, in my opinion. If you're defeatist in yourself before something has even, before you've even tried something, what's the point? So be positive, try and find the light in something, and spin it in a positive manner. And that's what I did in that example. I use another example, say, I've ruined a pair of trainers before by falling off a motorbike. Great, I get to buy another pair of trainers because I love trainer shopping. These little things, and having that smile on your face through difficult challenges just makes life just way more worth it than being down in dumps and negative all the time.
And what's the biggest joy of being Tom? What do you like the most about being you?
I think, again, this is something I've done as I grow older, but it's being comfortable with being me. Because of the kid I was at school, and I think being good at sports, there's always a certain stigma that's put around you that, you should be really cool, you should be able to talk to all the girls, you should be, I don't know if I'm allowed to kind of talk about anything like sex on this, but having sex with all the girls, I'm not like that, and I tried to kind of be the person that people expected me to be for a while, and I was just like, I don't like this person, this isn't me. And now I'm so much more comfortable with I'm a geek at heart. I love to go, I love to game. I love my own space. I love to train. And, since that, I've been way more comfortable with myself. Life has just been way, way more enjoyable, again, as I say.
it's great to be in this place because you don't have this heavy on shoulders. You feel free. You feel like, you know what, this is me, and accept
Yeah,
this way. Like, I think it's a great place to be for sure. Amazing.
definitely.
Next question. Let's do it. Before the next one, as you mentioned about you're a big fan of Manchester United, yeah? So
Yes.
tell me your 3 favorite players of all time.
Oh, easy peasy. David Beckham, Ruud van Nistelrooy, and Paul Scholes.
Okay, so one day you're gonna wake up in the morning with 3 missed calls on your phone from those 3 you just mentioned right now. Which one you call back straight away? Which one you send a message? I call you back later. And the third one, you don't call back, you don't send a message, you just go like, I can talk to him another time. Tell me.
I'm ringing back David Beckham straight away because he might give me a good opportunity. You know what? I think I text back Ruud van Nistelrooy because again, he's in the football world. He was always my favorite. Like he was the first United shirt number I had on my back. And the only reason I say Paul Scholes is because my mum's actually met him out a few times. My mum works in a fancy clothes store called Selfridges. So she met Paul Scholes through him shopping there, and then she's bumped into him a few times in
Wow.
Manchester. And you know, whenever he sees her, like he lets onto her. So I'm sure if I had the need to see Paul Scholes, I could ask my mum to set me up a meeting.
Very cheeky, you're very cheeky. Have you ever seen David Beckham playing in like lifetime or not?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Okay. Next question is, what has been the happiest day in your life so far and why?
I mean, we're probably biased to more recent events. So I've just come back from a 5-month trip to Asia.
Wow.
And it was incredible. You know, I spent most of it in Thailand, although I did spend a long time on one particular island in the Philippines called Siargao. And again, through the CrossFit gym there, I made a big, good, strong community of friends. And I will visit back because like that, I really see them as lifelong friends. So you can imagine the whole trip was full of these moments. But I think for me, like I met a girl in the Philippines in Siargao, and you know, long story short, we went on a date. She invited me to go and travel with her to Koh Phangan in Thailand, and we spent a week together.
Wow.
And we had on our last day, we were in Bangkok before we both sort of flew home and stuff, and we had maybe an hour on the rooftop of our hotel, just chatting, you know, talking. We talked about quite a lot of deep stuff. And she gave me a note that she'd written about our time together for this week. And it was just,
Oh my God.
it's probably the first love note I've ever received. I've still got it in my wallet now. Although we haven't seen each other since, we've kept in touch. She actually gave me a ring yesterday whilst I was at the competition to wish me luck. So
Wow.
I think that would be, because it was almost the seal of the trip, getting that note in that moment was just so
Wow.
beautiful. So yeah, I think that would be it.
Goosebump. My goodness, what a moment. Okay, so she's watching this interview right now and you have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say? She's watching?
She's watching. She's watching. She's always watching. I say, Nicole, it was an absolute pleasure, as you know, to spend that week with you. And as much as I'd love to see you again, we know it, you know, things might change. We don't know if it will happen, but you will always have a place in my heart. And I would always love to relive that week with you again. So hopefully we can.
God, I love it. Wow, beautiful. I love those stories when you go to a place where you've never been before or you've been before and suddenly people cross your path. People, you know, it's such a great moment when you are in a place and those special people just come to in your life. You know, go like, my God, I wasn't expecting that to happen. And it's such a great moment. And as you said, sometimes they come for a moment, they come for a lifetime, they come for a period of time. You know, they leave memories. There is something about it. And sometimes your path grow apart, sometimes you go back again, sometimes you keep in touch. There's always something behind. And I think the whole special part is about the moments you spend together. You know what I mean? And this, as you said about these little notes, it's something so beautiful and so simple, but it brings a big impact in our lives and stays there. I'm sure you're always going to remember that moment for sure. And I think it's a great place to be for sure. Be open-minded, be, in a place where you can be your true self. That's what happens. The right people just come along somehow. Love it.
Definitely. And I think just to add to that, William, like, of course, we only had that week together, but some of the influence that she's kind of left on me. So, for example, I alluded to the fact I'm from England. We do like a drink, we like to party. And when I was with her, she's not the polar opposite, but she doesn't really drink that much and stuff. And it just really got me out of maybe, what would you say, a routine of partying, because I was in a new place, meeting new people.
Yeah,
and ever since I've been back home for 2 months now, I've can count the amount of drinks I've had on one hand. I've really got my head down with training, with my work. And again, she was always so encouraging for me with my coaching program. She says, I know you're going to smash it. I know it's like you're anxious about, if you're going to have a business tomorrow, but I just know you will smash it. And that's always stuck in my head, even on those harder days where you think that you're not going to get any new clients and things. So yeah, only a week together, but a big impact she left on me.
Totally. Goosebump again. Yeah, it's just message come from people that sometimes you're not expecting, and sometimes it shows us a different way of life that we're not got used to. And you have our own routine, and someone, when they, without knowing, they break a little bit this routine, you go like, wow, that's amazing to see or to feel that. So it's special for sure. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
Cool. Oh, is that it? I wish there was more.
Okay, next question is, wow, that's what I like the most about the Magic Box. We're talking about a topic and suddenly a question comes up. What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness. First and foremost, it's being healthy. I think, having health is something we take for granted. Especially in the Western world, there's so many people who struggle on a day-to-day basis through no fault of their own. And if I could, and to kind of spin that question, if I could give everyone one gift, like, it would be health. So I think health is a big impact. I think having a strong, it doesn't necessarily need to be big, but a strong circle of people that you can trust, that you love, that you can be yourself around, is a key to happiness.
Yeah.
And I think, alluding to something that I mentioned before, I think it's being comfortable with who you are is a real, that's a cheat code to being happy. Because if you can be comfortable, then, apologies for my French and you can blur this out, but fuck what anyone else thinks about you. Do you know what I mean? And that's as long as your morals are in check, as long as you're not being, a hindrance to anyone else, and you're not kind of pushing your beliefs on anyone else. Like, be yourself and don't care what anyone else thinks.
Saying that, do you think happiness is a choice?
I think you have the power to, long story short, that's my job. My job is to help you make the better choices to become happy. So yeah, in a sense, I wouldn't say it's a choice that I'm going to wake up and be happy, but you can definitely do a lot to make yourself happy. Even if you feel right now that your life is, it's rock bottom, everything's going against you. Like I just said before, try and find that nugget of positivity. Yeah. And when you find that nugget, roll it like a snowball, and just every single day, you'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you'll look back at yourself maybe in 12 months time and think, wow, like, look how far I've come. And then, the world's your oyster at that point.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it. No music?
No music, so I've just got to imagine the music. Otherwise, you'd see me dancing, William.
Before the next question, tell me, let's go back to your program, to your business. So tell me something, what is about your program, about, the work that you offer that stands out compared with other, online coaches around the globe. Tell me something about it that for you, it's something special about your program, about your work that you do. People watch this interview right now, maybe they would like to, to connect with you or to, give a try and see what you can offer. So tell me something about it.
I think my speciality is definitely in the mindset and psychology side of things. Of course, the core and the foundations it's a training and diet program. But what fitness coach doesn't offer that. What I offer then, it's the mindset and the psychology to help you build those healthy habits and routines, to help you understand why you are a certain way and how to make it your superpower, to help you overcome your individual challenges, and again, be more positive about things. And over time, I almost like to see myself, this is like maybe a bit of a weird analogy, but imagine I've got do you know Play-Doh? Do you remember like what the
Play-Doh? No?
So it's like a child sort of clay that you can mold into different shapes, and
Okay.
then you can mold. Okay, so
Yeah.
imagine that you're my client, okay, and you're my Play-Doh right now, and this is your brain, and I'm through my little gentle sort of additions and tactics, we're able to then mold your brain into a point of where you want it, build those pathways to make life's choices, decisions, motivations just become a part of you. And instead of focusing on getting you shredded in 8 weeks like we were talking about before, my real focus is on, can you sustain this, not just for 8 weeks, but forever? And how are we going to do that? So it's not the fact that you're a little bit overweight and you just want to look good. We're going back now to a point when you've always been the heavier kid in your class. You've always been out of shape. Or on the flip side, you used to be that athletic kid at school. You're always the best at sports, but now you're mid-30s, you struggle to get up the stairs without being out of breath. You've lost your identity. You've lost that purpose in life. And it's about discovering it. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for them. The reason it's hard for me is because I'm such an invested, passionate, empathetic coach. I almost automatically feel what you feel when we go down that route. And I think that's, again, a real strong part of mine is it might sound really cheesy, but because I'm an online coach, but some of the bonds and relationships that I've created with my online clients, and I've got clients that have worked with me for over 2 years, nearly 3 years now,
Wow.
It's incredible. Like I know about their lives, they know about my lives. We text pretty much every day. I have such a strong bond with them, and even though we've not met in person, there's something special about it. And I aim to have that bond with everyone I work with. It's not always going to happen, as people, we don't connect with everyone that we work with, that we interact with. But I will do my damn hardest to at least get on a level where you can trust and respect me. I can trust and respect you. And as a team, together, we're going to help you get to your goals in, it doesn't have to be in 8 weeks, but I can guarantee if you are persistent and commit to it and allow the time, you will get what you want to get out of my program and my coaching.
Amazing. Good. The message up there. Let's see it. Next question is, if you could go anywhere in the world right now, right this moment, where would you go and why?
Oh, well, I do love to go to new places, but if I'm going to click my fingers and I can go somewhere, I'd go back to Chagall. And it wouldn't necessarily mean that I would have to be there for more than today. Just to go back, go and give all the friends that I made there, like that, real friends that I made there, a hug, a quick catch up, a coffee, and then I'll, click my fingers and come back and sleep in the evening. And that would make, today special. That would just give me, just to be able to see them again just for a short amount of time. And I know I will go back, but because it's so difficult to get to from the UK, being able to click my fingers and do it would be much easier.
I knew you would say that. I knew it, and I'm sure how special this trip was for you, about the people that you met and the whole experience. And I think those moments, we always, it was so special and so nice that you just want to see it again. You want to be there again for a moment of time, for an hour or for 10 minutes, just to feel this feeling again. And that's the great memories that we made. I totally understand your point. Last question. Ready?
Ready.
Do it, last one. Okay, but before the last question, Tom, as you mentioned before about some clients that you have, some experience through your career as an online coach, tell me a moment or a situation that you're never going to forget. So far, these moments always have a special place in your heart for any reason.
Okay, wow. Great question. I was going to say, I suppose a lot of when you maybe ask that question to other people, they probably go back to when they started. I don't think that would be for me because I've known I'm always going to be in fitness in some capacity. It's always been my passion. So I think, do you know what, William? I think I'm going to go to the point where I made the decision that I was ready to be my own coach. And the reason it's not just the fact of starting my own business and being, breaking off from a secured coaching job with, other coaches and, an endless influxation of potential clients. That's an element. I think the fact I did that whilst I was on the other side of the world was an element. I think the fact that I was able to then not only do it, but then bring, I want to say 90% of my clients with me out of their choice. I explained the situation. There was 3 options. They could basically come with me, stay with the company I was at, or they could just go off on their own. And, they all, the 90% were, they stopped me before I even finished my sentence to say I'm coming with you. And that was that sort of tick in the box that, okay, I've made an impact on this guy and he wants to carry on working with me. But the reason I go to that point with him is I've definitely always been someone who plays it safe. The fact that, before that trip to Asia, other than like family holidays and things, I hadn't really been away from Bolton. My university was less than an hour away from from my mum's house in Bolton. My part-time job, even whilst I was at uni, was in Bolton. And that 12-month period of, deciding to go traveling, deciding to become my own coach, deciding to take all these risks, even though now I look in retrospect, there was no real risk to it, was a big move for me. It was a big move for my my growth as a person, my sort of rubber stamp and seal that I was capable of doing these things, even though deep down I knew I was. Because I think, going back to what I said, being a really introverted and shy person before, add, risk aversive, play it safe, home bird, if you want to add all these kind of like not cotton wool kid, because I would still be, someone who would get myself in situations like breaking my ankle and, I'd be adventurous in that way. But yeah, I think that was the real, because even if this business doesn't succeed, and, I'm pretty confident it will, but even if it didn't, I now know that wouldn't stop me from trying. Whereas in the past, even before something had failed, a little hiccup would be, maybe this isn't right. And I'd go back to the safe option. So yeah, that would be the real kind of, what would you say, the significant event in my career so far that allowed me to take a big step up in that level.
And I think that when you start a business, when you start something, if you don't have those butterflies in your tummy, this insecurity, it doesn't mean anything. If you don't have that, I think that's the part of the journey. And if you feel that, it's because you are going the right direction. Because if you're going to start something and you don't have this excitement, you don't feel like, what's the point? I think the whole point is about being excited, being secure, being scared, being doubt, all those emotions that comes along, go like, my God, that's exciting, scary at the same time. You just need to embrace it and go for it. And sometimes doing something, it lights up a different idea, it comes up a different, so it's always part of the journey. I think the universe needs to see that you are up for it. If you are up for it, that's it. You know what I mean? You just need to understand if you are literally up for it. If they feel this energy come through you, trust me, you will become stoppable, and it can go in different directions. You can explore different directions. But the main thing is about trying, keep going. Going, following your intuition, follow your instinct, and that's the flame that is always there. I think that's the best way to see, those careers or whatever you're going to do in your life. I think it comes from this answer just gave now. It's not just about business, about life. It's about everything that you're going to do in your life. Could be even relationship, could be anything. That you just need to go for it and see how things is going to show up somehow.
Yeah. And I think just to add like a really, really quick quote to that, William, I've always, and something I live by now is, if you're, and it's, pretty much the same as what you said, but if you're not uncomfortable, doing something, then you might as well say goodbye to growing, because comfortability is the killer of dreams. If you don't do something that makes you uncomfortable, you ain't gonna progress. So
And if you feel scared, go feeling scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, go feeling scared. If you feel like, oh my God, I'm so scared, but do it, go it, because it's a beautiful place out there for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Right, last question. This is my favorite question of the Magic Box and came up for you. The question is, send away a message to someone, but you don't need to tell who this message is for. Just the person watching right now gonna go like, I know this message is for me.
Awesome. And this is very relevant because I was talking about him last night. But without saying who it's about, I'd say, please reach out to me or my dad or my sister. We all love you. We all understand you're going through some difficult times at the moment, but we also understand you haven't got a long time left, and we don't want the last part of your life to be remembered about this. And let's make it happen before it can't happen, basically.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Right, not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Awesome.
One word for money.
Fame. I don't know why.
Not right or wrong, whatever comes to your mind. One word for fear.
Spider.
Family.
Mum.
Life.
Happy.
Love.
CrossFit.
Love it. Religion.
Respect.
Sex.
Enjoyable.
Politics.
What would you say for don't care? But
Okay.
yeah, no.
Yeah. Friendship.
Close circle.
Desire.
Go for what you want.
Regret.
Don't regret the things, regret only what you don't do. That's what I was
One word. One word.
One word. Okay. Sorry.
I'm joking. I'm just joking. Success.
Money.
Okay. Wish.
Freedom.
Happiness.
Beach.
Wow. Let's see if I'm going to say the name of your town again. Correct. It's Bold. Yeah? Bold.
Bolton.
Bolton, yes. So one word for Bolton.
Home.
One word for England.
Proud.
One word for online coach.
Revolutionary.
Like that. If you could define your 5-month trip to Asia in one word, what that would be?
Eye-opening.
Wow. And the last one now, Manchester United, one word.
Oh, I won't swear, but let's just say disappointing.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I love it. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your mom for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, define Tom in one positive and one negative word only. What she would say about you?
I think as a positive, caring or loving on that front.
And negative?
Negative. Now, I say this, but I'm going to give you a bit of a backstory to it. She'd say selfish, but when I asked her, because she did say this to me, she said, I don't mean that as a negative though. I think you're selfish in a sense. You look after yourself. You make sure that you are your best self so that you can give your best self to others. But sometimes that focus on you is a little bit too much when it shouldn't be.
I love that. listen to your mom. She knows you very, very well, for sure.
She does. She does. And mum's word is the word.
No, totally. Sometimes they know us even better than ourselves, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's play now, Tom, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, Tom, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, because I do quite like these quick fire think on your feet.
Yep.
What's the best answer you have received to a question that you've asked, or what's one that sticks in your mind? Obviously not from our conversation, but from another interviewee.
Oh my God, what a great question. And I must say something to you. I had here on the show over 1,300-400 people here around the globe, and nobody asked me this question. Wow.
Oh.
It's great to put me right this spot, and I love it. I love it. You know what? I'm going to tell you something now. I could answer this question in different ways, but I'm going to go back to you when I ask you a question. And the first thing that came to your mind was about your, when you broke your ankle. And the first thing that came to my mind, it was a question that I made that I love the answer because this answer opened my mind. And I'll tell you why. So I was talking to this lovely man from South Africa, and he is a bisexual guy. Yeah, so he's a bisexual. And before I talked to him, I've always been very open-minded. For me, whatever people they feel, whatever they say they feel they are, I totally get it, I totally understand. But there was something about being bisexual that for me, personally, I always didn't understand much because I always thought to myself, okay, you can maybe go for both ways. You can, performance in a sex-wise for both ways. However, I always had the thought that maybe you always like something more. And I was talking to him about that. I just asked a question to him, and the way he replied to me, he said, William, the way he explained to me about that, it literally made me totally believe that you can like both. You can go for both ways and still have the biggest pleasure in your life, And he got a girlfriend, he got a female girlfriend, and he loves her, and they have the best life. However, he had some, let's say, moments with guys as well, and he got the biggest joy of it. And the way he explained that, Don, was so clear and so it came from his heart, and the way he explained, he literally opened my mind. And it's clear for me right now. After that conversation I had with him, so it made me understand much more about it. And that big stigma that was here in my head, it broken straight away. And I'm so grateful for that moment because, again, as I said, no, without any judgments, I always never, for me, wasn't something very clear in my mind, and I always believe people, if they tell me, oh, I like this, I like that, I totally understand and I totally agree with that. However, for some reason, this little topic for me always wasn't very clear. But the way he explained was such a beautiful way he explained and put out there that for me was like, you know what, you made my entire year with this answer because it's something that was there and now you just broke it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Those moments in life, sometimes you just need to go through it to understand it, to talk to someone. And that's what I like the most to hear about the show, because you have no idea how many topics I talk here that for me was a taboo, I could understand, and somehow is more clear for me now and more understanding, not just for me, but people who watch the interview as well. I could tell you so many memories that people from Australia, from the US, that they connect with each other because of the show regarding different topics. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing to see. But back to your question, that was I answer that for some reason, it was so clear for me that it literally broke this big stigma that I had in my mind. And I'm so grateful for that, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah. And I can see why. It's made a huge impact on you and probably how you think, maybe not necessarily just about that, but other things moving forward. So
absolutely. And sometimes you need, as you said before in the interview, sometimes you need to go through those little conversation or connect with others for you to understand more. And he had no idea that he was literally breaking a stigma in my mind without knowing me. And I told him after this, oh my God, you just made my day now, because the way you explain, the way you put that from your heart, you literally made me understand and break something here. So, and back to your trip as well in Asia, you've been there, you had some routines that you had before, and be around people that you never had. They had different ways of approaching life. It shows you a different way of seeing life as well. And that's
Yeah,
the beauty about connect with people and others as well. Thanks for the question. Love it.
no
Amazing.
problem.
Did you enjoy the interview?
I loved it. It was brilliant. Thank you so much for asking me along.
Thanks again. Thanks again. I love to have passionate people here on the show. I love to see people like you, like going after their dreams and, take day by day and ambitious as well. You want to be the best of you. You want to give the best to help others. And I love that. I think the show is about that. It's about people here being their truly self and just exposing the way they are. Before you go, Tom, if you can share just a positive message or anything that you live by.
Yeah, it's got to be, I've got to live up to my strengths, I suppose, and that's positivity. So it can be difficult, and I'm speaking to those who are maybe going through tougher times at the moment, and it can be really, really hard to think that anything is going to be positive in your life. You may have hit rock bottom, and in those times, in that moment, it can feel like, the world's collapsing on you. But tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow you can completely split the script.
Yeah.
It might not happen tomorrow, next week. But what I'm trying to say is, in those moments, it feels like you can never get out of them. But I promise, it even might be someone just smiling at you as you walk past them on the street could just give you that little bit of a boost. And from there, you'll forget about that moment where you're in rock bottom. Like, there's so much more to life than a moment. And you can't let a moment rule the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of your year, because there's so much more opportunity to create positive moments. That would be the message I'd leave.
Amazing. Very good. Thanks again. Regards to your family, regards to your friends as well in Asia. I just hope that somehow you're going to see them again. We have this moment to make more memories, and we keep in touch. It was a pleasure to have you on the show, okay? Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much, William, and it was a pleasure. Thank you for making my Sunday.
The pleasure's all mine. Take care, okay? Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.